This is take 3 with JFB, where I pose random questions to John Barnes, the founder of Myofascial Release, and give him 3 minutes or less to answer. Okay, John, a lot of questions come up about the survival mechanism. Can you tell us more about that?
Yeah, that's so important. It's one of the massive missing links in healthcare. I'm sure you all realize now that our mind is connected to our body. We can only separate that with words. And of course, in healthcare, they ignored the mind. I think it's because there was so many variables, it wasn't convenient for the way we do research. And you know that research, basically the way it's being done now, is basically talking about dead people. Uh, it has nothing to do with the living human being that has moods, emotions, and all sorts of physiological disturbances. So, the in separating the mind from the body, it's crippled us as therapists to really do the job we wanted to do, which is help other people, or we help people. But as you know, traditional therapy only produces temporary results. All of research is done on the reductionist theory, what breaks things into pieces and fragments us. And that was proven to be totally inaccurate way of looking at the human being and studying the human being back in 1923 by Max Planck, the father of quantum physics. So talk about healthcare moving glacially slow. In any event, because we don't pay attention to the mind, then we've had severe difficulty in helping others. So I get into this in myofascial 1. The problem is that most of you came with what you thought was an open mind, and I'm sure you were trying, most of you anyway. And some just come to annoy me. However, you're always trying to take the new information if you're stuck in channel 5, which 99% of people are. You're trying to take the new information and ram it into the old paradigm, which is about as effective as ramming a square peg into a round hole. It just doesn't work. So most people initially miss this concept, and it's so incredibly vital. So let me go through that with you again and try to listen to it with fresh ears. Beginner. The master is always a beginner. So you and I, every human being and every animal has a survival mechanism, and it's so important. So when things become too intense for us, become overwhelming, the survival mechanism kicks in. And basically what it does, if something's hurting too much or it's just too scary, our energy field is pulled out of our body to some degree. Now, also healthcare doesn't want to hear about the energy field. The energy field is another word for your mind, basically, your consciousness. We had that all wrong, but that's a whole other story. So it pulls you out to basically numb you out to help you get through the ordeal. If you remember the story about when I first injured my back lifting weights, I'll cut it way down, but I was in the gym working out, squatting with somewhere over 300 pounds. I had nobody to spot me, so I couldn't get up. So I'd been a gymnast when I was younger, and I thought I'd just do a back roll to get out of that. Getting that when you have a 300-pound bar in your hands, it doesn't let go. So I crashed onto the ground and ruptured my disc at L5 and tore a lot of ligaments. I lay there stunned, and I felt numb from the waist down. I couldn't move my legs. But then as the numbness wore off, the pain began. In that instant, my life changed. The things that I love the most, challenge and motion, were taken from me. So, that's the experience I had, but I didn't have words for it just then. But I've come to understand how incredibly important it is for us. We've all had that experience, whether we realize it or not. The problem is when we numb out, it was only meant to be a short-term event, a couple hours or maybe a couple of days. But without myofascial release, that information remains locked into us and not available to us. So most of the sensations, most of the emotions were never fully felt because you're out of your body. So it's only through unwinding a structural MFR and rebounding does that information that's been lost to us come back into our body. So you have to be there for them to help them understand it's safe. This is therapeutic pain. Therapeutic pain will never injure you. It's the key to healing. If we can allow ourselves to feel that which starts to come back in, as intense as it may be, as painful as it may be, it's what will heal you. And you're there to keep them safe and to encourage them, to motivate them. So important. So as that information becomes available to you now, instead of walking out like this all day long, ooh, finally you can back to moment of rest. It's homeostasis. Finally. So this has been probably the major factor that healthcare has basically ignored, and it's what exactly gets in the way of people truly healing for any length of time.